and this is going to be an amazing day. I'm so excited to be here with all of you today. We are in for a really, really special treat. For those of you who tuned in last week, we were blessed to have Susan Mitchell-Tree here last week. Susan Mitchell-Tree is an equity partner in a financial firm, and she had some great conversations about the economy and finances. But I want to tell you, no matter what you understand, if your mindset is not correct around money, then you are missing out on all of it. And today we are here with a best-selling author. I'm so thrilled. Her book came out. She's a co-author of this amazing book. Here we go, I'll hold it up for you, called There She Glows, Volume 2. Phenomenal book. And I'm going to have her tell you the amazing statistics that hit as soon as this book came out. But I will tell you this, it surpassed two of my favorite books, The Miracle Morning and Think and Grow Rich. So that's pretty big. So Sally, if you could, oh, and by the way, Sally is tuning in from the UK. God bless her. I think it is 10 p.m. at night there. Is that correct?
That's right. Yep.
You are the best. She's live with us 10 o'clock at night her time and still energetic. Sally, could you take a few minutes and share, please don't be modest, tell everybody about how amazing your book is doing and a little bit about how you got into all this. This is your first time being published, so this is huge. Take it away, Sally.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, well, thank you for having me here. First of all, it's such a pleasure to be in this amazing group of amazing women. Such an honor. So yeah, literally, I was invited to be part of this publication. I didn't really know what was going to happen when it was launched. I just thought, it's going to be another book, and not, most people don't hear about these books, right? But we were then primed to go out there and put the link out and share, and it hit #1 bestseller in 4 categories within a few hours, and then another 3. And actually, you're only aware of 7. Then we hit an 8th one before the 24 hours was up, because I 6:30 in the morning. It launched at 7:30 last Wednesday morning. At 6:30 the following morning, I thought, oh, just go and check. And it was then, it was #1 bestseller in inspired spiritual books or something like that, spiritual inspiration, which was the new category. So I was like, okay.
So you're an 8-category bestseller right now. Not shabby for your first publication, I will definitely tell you that. And there's so many things I want to talk to you about, but one of the things before we get into what you wrote about, which I thought was priceless, absolutely priceless, is how it happened for you. Because there are always people, I know we actually have authors in this group and we've had authors speak, but to come out of the gate like that, sometimes God has a plan for you. The universe has a plan for you, depending on what your faith is. Tell them how you got connected. It's a wild story.
Yeah, so I mean, okay, so Lucy is the lady that put together this the book, Lucy Crane, and she had founded a coaching collective called the Glow Society, and she had the idea to put together a collaboration book. So that one launched last year, also became bestseller. And then one day, and I don't know if I've told you the full story. So we met on LinkedIn in sort of fall of 2019. We just discovered, that she had certain skills that could really help me. And I was involved with certain things, and it was actually gold purchasing. That I was able to help her with, which she and her partner were currently, investing in gold. So we were able to just help each other in this space. And then, then back in November last year, she reached out to me, and I don't know if I told you this part of it, but I had, just for a laugh, just for a little experiment, a year before, when I'd had a few days to myself, I had sat and I'd written like a 20-page ebook on productivity.
Oh, you did not share that with me. That's great. Okay.
I actually never did anything with it, because when I then looked at the whole publishing, Kindle publishing side, I just went, oh my goodness, I don't have time to understand all of this. But I'd come in from outside, I was taking my shoes off, and I saw there was a voice note from Lucy, and I thought, I'll listen to that in a minute. But as I was taking my shoes off, I was thinking to myself, now, wouldn't it be interesting to have a few days to myself again and write a book? And maybe this time it could be a book for women on buying gold. And I guess Lucy had maybe reminded me of the gold thing, which was why I thought about it. And I listened to her message, and she said, I don't know if this would be of interest to you, but I'm putting together this book. And I thought of you because I've never known any other woman talking about buying gold before.
Yeah. And it is unusual, yes.
I just kind of did a double take. I was like, hang on, how did that just happen? And obviously we jumped on a call. The rest is history. I wasn't going to say no.
No, that was kind of a sign. I think you could really conclude that was a sign. So Sally, you do buy gold, which is really fascinating. But what I love so much, which applies to anybody who's watching this, whether they're buying gold or they're just trying to get out of debt, or whether they've got all the money in the world, no matter where you are, is what you talked about in terms of the relationship with money and your development from going from a place where I believe you were sleeping on couches and kind of struggling to this totally different place financially. Can you take a few minutes, please, and share the different steps that you went through and how it shifted everything? Because that's something that we can all apply.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think the thing that had really stood out to me was I was having panics around money, which is not surprising when, I had become a single mother. I had 3 kids dependent on me. And I'm also very proud. I don't like to ask my family and to tell them that I'm struggling. So, maybe that's not the best thing to, should be honest with my family. But for me, it was really important to do whatever I could to kind of keep myself above water before I asked them for help. So one thing I just realized was that I was not treating money in the way that I should treat any entity that is there to support me and to love me and to take care of me and my family, my kids. And so what I then realized was actually I was treating everything in my life in a similar way, including myself. There was a lot of self-sabotage. It was also the way I was treating my business. I wasn't abusing my business. I worked hard in my business, but I wasn't in love with what I was doing. I wasn't, giving myself grace. I was putting myself under a huge amount of pressure and ultimately not showing up as my authentic self, because I was trying to be something I wasn't, to try to create this business that wasn't coming from the heart. So yeah, I had to sort of unravel everything I was doing and choose to look at money in a different way. So, this involved mindset. It involved being clear about, setting my intentions. It involved becoming financially knowledgeable and financially wise. And then ultimately, seeing money as an energy, which it is. I mean, a paper note or numbers on a screen yes, okay, they you can quantify them, but ultimately it's what you do with that, you know, and it's how you use it, how you view it. You know, some people really abuse money, some people throw it away the minute they get it, and that again goes back to their own relationship with themselves and how they see money as maybe a negative thing. But yeah, ultimately it is an energy, because it is creating a certain energy within our lives. It maybe, you know, it gives us this place to live, or it supports charities that we really want to support, or, you know.
It's wild because, you know, you one of the things that blew me away was your story about how you had gotten a lot of cash twice and instantly lost your wallet right after both of those times. And I'm not laughing, but I'm going, oh my God, that is sometimes when people don't believe they should have money for whatever reason, they don't deserve it, or it makes them bad or whatever. Like crazy things happen to make that money leave you.
Yeah, exactly. And
So
it was crazy, because I had worked really hard. I had, you know, put so much into making this money and I had this wallet full of cash. And the first time that happened, I went to make a phone call in a phone box, good old days. In fact, people did have mobile phones. I was resisting it at that time. So I went into a phone box, made a phone call, left my wallet inside the phone box. And the second time it just fell out of my bag. But it was, you know, same situation, rare occasion. I'd made a lot of money in a short space of time, and I lose, you know, not most of it.
I'm only laughing because I know you are no longer in that place, so I would not be laughing. But it is wild how some people will repel money,
yes,
if they're not in the right place around it. And what are some of the things that you did to shift? Because, you know, now you're in a best-selling book talking about buying gold. That's a far place from losing your wallet. So what are some of the things that you did that maybe somebody else who's watching this, they could say, okay, I could go do that and change the dynamic around money in my life?
mm-hmm. So the first thing that happened when I, you know, kind of got to this place where we had no home, I was staying with my dad. Mm-hmm. I was starting to despair a bit, and I had been very much focusing on business as being the way to make money. But as the weather started to get nicer and I wanted to go and explore my surroundings, I started taking myself off for long walks and listening to audiobooks. And I was listening to the audiobook, You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. And none of her concepts were new to me. And I'd already read You Are a Badass. But, you know, the whole universe thing was something I was well aware of for many years. But I'd never really thought that so specifically about money in terms of, you know, using the law of attraction.
Yes.
But as I listened to her, and she had some very practical tips, I thought, well, actually, maybe this is where I need to put my focus. I need to actually, you know, be surrounding myself with the right people. Mm-hmm. So the first thing I did was create a mastermind with some positive women who I loved, who I knew were in a similar place business-wise to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I started tuning into the idea of setting clear intentions around money. Mm-hmm. And I mention in the book how I literally was washing up and I just spoke it out to the universe. And then I even said it to a friend, in fact, one of these women in the mastermind, on a call. And I said, you know, all I want is £100,000 to be gifted to me, to come to me in some way, which would, half of that could be for my father, to make sure that he can buy the property that a property that he can enjoy and feel good in, and we can buy a property that we can enjoy and cover some of our debts. That's all. And 2 years later, exactly 2 years later, 2 lots of £50,000 showed up.
Easy. It's crazy, but it's crazy, but it's not at the same time. Do you know what I'm saying?
It is, yeah, exactly. And you kind of, you say, okay, well, yeah, I know, I understand, universe, it's fine, but at the same time you go, how did that happen? I mean, how honestly.
Sometimes, people really set their sight on things, and then it comes to them, like the law of attraction, as you mentioned. And I see, like, for example, let's say that somebody was going, oh, well, here, I'll have a really funny example. So right before I spoke with you, I was speaking with someone who had been in this group before as a speaker, and she wrote a book on gratitude. And that is a topic that I'm very passionate about. And then you jumped onto this live with me, and you have on a gratitude shirt. I was cracking up. I'm like, okay, I was just having this conversation right before I clicked onto this link to be here with you today. But sometimes someone's like, oh, I need to go buy a blue dress. And everywhere you see, everybody's wearing a blue dress. It's just so funny. But if people are focusing on creating financial comfort or financial abundance, then the opportunities arise and they seize them more, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But again, I do think that it's not just a case, because you can be tuned in to what you want, but clinging to it in a desperate way, like needy of it. So you do have to have a real, allow it to be, to say, okay, this is what I want. I'm putting it out there, and I'm not going to go chasing it. But your mind does start to notice the things, the opportunities. Yeah. And again, money and opportunity, again, is something that people can really fall into traps around as well. Sure. So, in terms of then going and learning more about the numerical side and just being a little bit wise around money, and being able to take informed decisions, that was kind of the next step for me, which was where I then learned about gold, the financial system, cryptocurrencies. Then you kind of look at everything as being, well, is this a rabbit hole, or is this something that could potentially change my life? And, obviously with entrepreneurship and money, financial investments, everything is a risk to a degree. Mm-hmm. But what I found was that I started to actually make decisions that were, very intuitive, but with an informed kind of understanding as well. And being able to kind of spot the rabbit holes and the scams or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think that you can really share with people that will give everybody hope out here, because for most people, buying gold and cryptocurrency is about the equivalent of getting on a rocket and landing on the moon. But you did share a little bit about your background with money and how much you loved economics. Can you share that with our viewers today? Can you go ahead and tell them a little bit about where you came from in relation to this whole topic to where you progressed?
Yeah, so I mean, I was not interested in economics and money at all. It was like, to me, it was very male and boring. And actually, my dad's an economist.
No.
So that was exactly, you know, it was like, I don't understand his brain. I don't know what goes on in there. I'm not going to think about these things. And I literally just didn't think it was something that I could ever get my head around. And, you know, I have been self-employed since 2002 and filled in a tax return every year. But you should see how, you know, I just did the bare minimum. I just made everything as simple as possible and just like, yeah, that adds up. Yeah. So yeah, that was where I came from. So, and yeah, I kind of switched to actually getting quite excited about planning ahead financially and seeing what was possible. And as one of the mentors that I've had over the years said, you know, if you can kind of create a regular date with money where you actually dress up for it, and you might, you know, depending on the time of day, you might want to pour yourself a glass of wine, and you get out your spreadsheets and you look at everything and you balance through books, and then you go, wow, thank you, money. I've got all of this, and look, you know, this is taking me into the next month, and that's just all full of possibilities.
I love that, a date with your money. That's really cool. So it's funny because, you know, last week and this week, we're having conversations about finances, and, you know, people say money is not everything, and it is not by far. Your health, your family, if you are a spiritual person, your relationship with the Lord, all of those things are way more important than money by far. I want to make sure that that is clear. But what's interesting is how much money can take away from you having those other things if you are in a place of desperation around your finances. Like, it can take away from your health. I mean, here in the United States, it's a known fact that the vast majority of divorces, which are very high here in the US, are around money. And, you know, you can't give to your church or your charity, or you can't, there's so many things you can't do. And I always say money is only important when you don't have it, because when you don't have it, and I have been there and been like, holy smokes, you know, I'm really broke right now. And I remember being like that, but then that's all you think about is, you know, fear, scarcity, and it dominates your thinking so much. So I think romancing it is fabulous.
Well, exactly. And it's, you know, I mean, there's different traditions around the world, but the Japanese have, is it the arigato technique or something, which is basically where you basically say thank you every single time you spend money. And so, you know, you're doing your spreadsheets and you're seeing all these expenses, and you say, thank you, you're feeding my business, you're enabling me to do all these amazing things. Thank you for supporting me, thank you for feeding me and my family. And if you turn your mindset around to the gratitude rather than the scarcity, then, you know, it frees you from that burden of wondering where the next paycheck's going to come from. And
yes, and I know we had not planned this, so I'm springing this on you, but when you first jumped on camera, I went, oh, I love that shirt. Where did you get that shirt? And you caught me off guard with your answer. So I'm going to ask you here in front of everybody live, where'd you get that shirt? You should tell everybody where that shirt comes from.
Well, I happen to have a little boutique, online boutique. They are organic shirts, and it's called the Goddess Collective t-shirts, or Goddess Collective tees. And yeah, it was just, why the heck not? This can just complement my brand. You know, I'm all about empowering people, and women especially. So I tend to call people goddesses. So, you know, I thought, well, let's make a brand of t-shirts for goddesses, for the what did I call it? The self-professed goddesses. And yeah, they're all about gratitude and tree hugging and
I thought that was a US comment, tree hugging. I like that. So Sally, so you are now a best-selling author in 8 categories. Obviously, you make amazing shirts. but you also have a coaching piece of your business. And I thought that was fascinating, like the transition you have made from where you started financially to now you are empowering, educating, and uplifting other people is just remarkable. So can you tell everybody a little bit about that part of your life too, please?
Yeah, okay. So yeah, this again, it was just, hey, I could do this. I've got skills, you know, I developed skills over my time in learning and implementing online businesses, affiliate marketing, things like that, video creation, funnel building. I could guide other people in doing the same. Now, again, I would call this another sort of gift from the universe. I had set a date for when I was going to start marketing my own coaching business, and along came this amazing offer, like literally landed in my lap, to be part of the coaching team of a social media guru, which I ended up doing for most of 2020. And then in December, I sort of stopped being part of that coaching team and went purely on my own. Prior to that, I had a few like private clients. I went completely on my own, and yeah, so I guide people in using social media for their own businesses. I do a lot of mindset, you know, especially when it comes to social media. I really speak to the introverted person who knows that they need to get out there, but feels overwhelmed by the number of different platforms, and, you know, how to make social media possible while, you know, taking care of yourself, especially as an introverted person. So that's been kind of the main thing I do, helping people to design their sales funnels when they, you know, bringing leads in. So I'm doing that, and also, you know, doing sort of coaching around my energetic alignment, really, and, you know, that includes with money. So I do emotional freedom technique. I have a course on emotional freedom technique. I use that with some clients, and yeah, I do coaching around money mindset.
So you do coaching, you buy gold, you have an 8-category bestseller, you make awesome shirts. So I have to ask the magic question. With all of this going on, where do you want to go next? Where do you see yourself in, you know, 5 years? What things do you want to accomplish personally or help other people to do as well?
Well, so recently I have been putting together a kind of an ongoing coaching academy, which I hope to launch at the end of the summer, which I would like to grow so that, you know, I'm giving value to people. I'm helping people with building their businesses, but also creating an amazing community. But I'm also feeling extremely inspired to help other people to get their story and their writing out there. And actually, one of the ideas that I had probably about 3 years ago was to create a course on copywriting for, you know, whether it was social media, whether it was sales, blogs, all of that. That had been an idea which I'd then never sort of taken any further. But now I'm going back to that. And since, like, I'm quite a spontaneous person. So the book launched, I was quite blown away really by the experience. I just expected to say, yeah, guys, there's a book that I'm part of and you can buy it if you like. I was very much encouraged by the publisher to actually do a bit more in the marketing space. And there was such an overwhelming response to it that I thought, well, hey, let's do something with this. And I've organized a workshop tomorrow on journaling. So it's a combination of journaling for kind of clarity and success and story writing. So I'm gonna support people from here on with writing their own story. Journaling anyway is very much a part of what I like to teach. And yeah, I think this could be something that I would really like to support people with over the next few years.
Well, I am so grateful that you're in here. And there are a couple things I want to do before we wrap up, because I know it's super late where you are. Number one, we're going to post a link where you can get this fabulous book. Here you see it right there. And there are two ways that it's available. One is through Amazon, but the other thing I kind of push Sally to do is there's also a link where there is a bit of a discount, but then a royalty goes to her. So if you're interested in the book, that's a great way to do it, because we always love to support each other in here. You could do it either way. But now that I've seen your shirt, I want the link to get your shirt. So if you could give us the link to your online boutique, we'd love to post that too. And when you have these other courses, maybe you could come back into the group and post and, you know, let everybody know what you're doing, because we'd love to continue to follow your success as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. And actually, would you mind if I just sort of bring this in? But
oh, go for it, please.
You know, I do know that there are people that are possibly in this group, but are connected with people that we both know, who have been involved with writing books and publishing books in the past, but not had much success with the actual launch. But if anybody at all is interested, has written a book, is thinking about publishing or thinking about writing a book, obviously we made it to bestseller in 8 categories. That wasn't down to me, as much as I would love to say that it was down to the publisher. She knows everything that she's doing, and she's created this lovely kind of, I suppose, small business publishing brand that is especially for women. And she's a master. She actually helps you through the process of writing if you need help with that. She helps you with the process of marketing, and she knows exactly how to get it into bestseller in different categories, which is why obviously we did it in 24 hours. So if anybody is interested in learning more about her, I would love to at least share her details as well.
Maybe we could even get her to come on into the group and do an interview with her too. That would be fun.
Absolutely. I bet she would love to, actually.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll do that also. Now, Sally, you're also part of the Facebook group. So if people are watching this on the Facebook Live, they can link in and connect and send you messages. That's okay with you, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. So first, I want to thank you. You're the best. Really appreciate it. Love your energy, love your wisdom, love your shirt, love all of it. But just everything that you stand for. And I think one of the things that's so exciting is when you see people come from one place and then really change their life and excel to another. It's even better that you weren't interested in any of this, and here you are. So congratulations, and thank you for your generosity and spending time with us.
Oh, thank you so much. And it's been an absolute pleasure.